Wow. What up? What up? What up? Panther Nation, Pantherologist, how are we? Oh, wait. Not Pantherologist anymore. Rockstar Gang. I don't know why. It still blows my mind sometimes, even though how far I've come and grown with this channel. But then I still revert back to Pantherology, which was, not too long ago, but still. So, first off, I got to say this. Cyburn, thank you so much for becoming a member here of this channel. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. That is the shit that I love. Like that. This is the reason why I continue to go. And the people in the chat too. And I get it. Y'all want to come in. You want to say a few things. And I get that. And we will do that, I promise, with you soon. But I've worked hard on what today's show is going to be about. And I promise you, we will do a call-in show soon. Okay? I promise. Okay? I have just got so much. I've worked so hard on this PowerPoint presentation for you guys today. And I've worked so much hard on getting some insights on what's going on within this organization. I have found a little loophole, let's just say. And I am not going to distribute that loophole. Not going to tell you who it is. Let's just say the more y'all pound that like button, the more you continue to help me and grow this channel, the more I can give you some insight. All right. Because my name is getting out there because of you guys. And let's just say I have a couple buddies in Charlotte who have some insights going on over there and in that organization. Sometimes it just takes that one person, right? Chris Max in the chat. Mets is in the chat. Cyburn membership, man. Thank you so much. Mad Chatter, he says he's mad. No, not Mad Chatter. Not Mad Chatter. We know you're mad, Mad Chatter. We know you're mad. We know you're mad. You're always mad. It's in your name. It's in your DNA. All right. All right. It's in your DNA, man. It's in your DNA. It's in your name. You're mad. So Chris Max in the chat, Mets is in the chat, Cyburn's in the chat. Cyburn, thank you again for becoming a member of the channel. I really appreciate that. It goes a long way. That is just like one step forward of going above and beyond to help show your support to this channel. Clay's an OG son. I'm trying to be, man. Not yet. I'm not OG yet, like PMP and Big Cat and how do you say Coltrane? You know those boys. I've been only on doing this for 3 years. I think those guys have been doing it for 8 years, maybe even more than that. So they're the OGs. Raleigh Wood, see, what up, my guy? What up, my guy? How are you doing? Hope everyone's having a blessed Wednesday. And welcome to the Ropp Star Report. If you're new here and you're just tuning in, my name's Clay Ropp. I am a content creator towards NFL content, Carolina Panthers content. If you haven't seen my NFL Power Rankings, go check it out. Guys, I've been doing NFL Power Rankings and NFL Picks weekly. The weekly picks I only post on TikTok because it's 3 minutes long and I can't make a short. I try to make them as a short, and I can't post a short over here. I could post it as a video, but it won't look as good. I would probably just have to edit it and all that. But I also do weekly picks live as well. So if you're just tuning in, I hope that if Carolina Panthers is your team, this is the place to be. If you're NFL content, this is also the place to be. As you can see by the title, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about David Tepper's press. I've got some more things that I want to talk about with that. Frank Reich's stubbornness. That was his fate. That sealed his fate. Honestly, now that the rumors have come out. And Tom Brady's calling for continuity. I'm going to give you my sleeper picks for the next head coaches. I'm going to give you some sleeper picks who I think could be sleeper guys in the mix of that next head coaching job. I'm going to talk about guys that I do not want to target for the next head coach. And then another thing is we're going to talk about Ben Johnson being the front runner of the next head coaching job here in Carolina. So again, appreciate everyone joining the live stream as you're coming in, and make sure you pound the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Cyburn's coming in hot already with the membership. So if you want to become a member, you can do so. Also, just make sure you pound that like button as you're coming in. There's 14 people watching, only 8 likes. There's no reason why we shouldn't have 14 likes already. All right, let's dive right into it. That's all I ask from you guys is pound that like button. All right. The memberships, the subscribing, all that. You can do it. Great. Let's go in the extra mile. But if you don't do it, fine. No big deal. All right. That's not the biggest important to me. You just pounding that like button, showing me support is all I ask. Panther Raider X, what up? What up? All right. So Panthers chaos, guys. We're going to talk more about this, but I just want to say this. Tepper's arrogance is under fire. Okay. Tepper's attempt to really try to soothe these concerns by flaunting his economic impact only backfired to him. All right. He instead of admitting to his mistakes, he admitted to bringing in Beyonce. That was like his thing. He's like, I brought you Beyonce. I mean, portraying him as an arrogant and defensive asshole is maybe like not enough, honestly. I get it. He's a billionaire owner with a big ego, with a small penis. It is what it is. I'm seemingly more concerned with how soothing his ego was when it was trying to address football matters. And basically, he dismissed crucial questions. He left reporters with more concerns than questions after his firing of Frank Reich. But Frank Reich sealed his fate on his own as well. But the national ridicule is pouring and it paints a damning picture. All right, that's what it does. It paints a damning picture. Okay, and it raised a question about David Tepper's commitment and ability to steer the Panthers in the right direction. Another thing, Frank Reich's stubbornness was exposed. Okay, and we're going to dive more into that rumor here. Basically, his stubbornness to adapt the offensive strategies has come about. Him not being stubborn and basically set to his old ways. Basically, it's almost the same thing. The reason why he got fired in Indianapolis, because of this so-called playbook that he had. Vanilla offense. Blah blah blah. It was bland, man. We know that. Inside zone run almost every first and second down. Then we're running screen plays on 4th and 6. We're calling plays for Adam Thielen, who's not even on the field. We're running these long-winded routes that causes your quarterback to get sacked because it's not creating separation. It's just one thing after another. But he chose, because reports have shown that suggest that Reich should have incorporated RPO plays into the game plan, really to suit Bryce Young. And that just him. And hearing all this now, and we're going to dive deeper into this because I have more on this here shortly. It just shows the lack of flexibility and collaboration that this guy has. And that's the reason why you got fired. Because you're stubborn ass shit. Simple, easy as that. And I'm not going to talk more about it because I want to dive into more of that rumor. Another thing is Chris Tabor. I feel like he's been kind of a forgotten figure because if you think about it this way, interim head coach Chris Tabor now finds himself, I feel like, in the shadows of Tepper and Reich's mismanagement. And with the focus primarily on the higher ups, I feel like Tabor faces the challenges of really trying to steer this ship to trying to even just get a second victory of the season, much less anything else. And despite being respected around the league by other teams, other coaches, players, Tabor's role now really stabilizing the team, salvaging some respectability from an atrocious season. Okay, and that's mainly it. With Chris Tabor, I feel like he's just been a forgotten figure, and he's just. If I was him, I wouldn't have accepted the interim head coaching job, but that's neither here nor there. And then Tom Brady came out and said that wisdom falls on deaf ears. Okay. Wisdom falls on deaf ears. Okay. And even legendary quarterback Tom Brady couldn't resist weighing in on what's going on here in Carolina. So that's why you see him up there. Okay. You're probably like, what the heck? I think I saw someone in the chat say, why is Tom Brady up there? Yeah. Panther Raider X said it. Guys, there's 16 people watching. There should be 16 likes. There's no reason why there should not be 16 likes. It's free. You don't got to pay for it. It's not like it's $1. My God. And listen, if you want to inflate anything, inflate that like button, okay? If you're worried about money so much, inflate that like button like it's inflation, all right? Like it's the grocery prices right now, all right? Bryce XFFL, fuck you, Matt Chatter. Respectfully. If Bills fire McDermott, no, we're not. We're going to talk about McDermott, okay? All right? We're going to talk about McDermott. Who passed interim head coach? Do we know? From my understanding, Big Cheesy, and from the rumors that I'm understanding, David Tepper did. Basically, they asked two guys. I think they asked, it was between Evero and I think it was Chris Tabor. I'm pretty sure that's how the rumor went. And Evero had nothing wanted to do with it, and Tabor just took and basically was like, I'll do it. I mean, that's kind of just how it went down. I mean, that's like in lame, like as basically as I can explain it. I think Evero wants out here in Carolina. I really do. I think Evero, even though he's doing a great job and he's doing everything he can to make this defense as good as it is, with practice squad players mixing in, I think he wants to find a head coaching job, and it's not here. And that's fine by me because he's one of the candidates that I'm going to talk about today. The reason why I don't want him here as the next head coach. And listen, I'm all about some Evero, but I just don't think he's head coach. I just don't think he's a good fit here, and I'll explain why. Not that I would be mad if he became head coach. I just don't think he's a good fit here. He didn't make the offense suit to Bryce. Exactly. And we're going to dive more into that. I'm going to explain what happened. Okay. I'm going to explain what happened. I promise you. Inflate the Panthers wins. I'd love that too, but inflate that like button while you're at it. All right. Just do that for me. Guys, the goal is to get 50 likes. Every show, we want to get 50 likes. Once we reach 50 likes, then we're going to move it on up, but we haven't reached 50 likes yet. We barely reached 30 likes. So make sure you pound that like button, all right? All right, let's move on. I appreciate everyone joining. Feel free to get in the comment section, guys. Continue to get in the comment section. So Frank Reich's stubbornness, that's why you see donkey over there, stubborn as a mule, right? You ever heard that saying? Sealed his fate. And then, he's pulling that hotline bling. So again, this has been a chaotic season. Everybody wants to find solutions. Everybody's trying to ignite some kind of respectability on the field here with this team. And then, of course, Frank Reich got it fired. And this has now unveiled a glaring issue that contributed to this whole downfall. And it's not just his fault. Again, we still have other people to blame, which we're going to talk about here shortly, because we're going to talk about Scott Fitterer today, too. His steadfast refusal to adapt and embrace a strategy tailored to quarterback Bryce Young just proves to me that they built this playbook and offense for C.J. Stroud, number one. But you didn't do anything to re-strategize and maneuver things around for the rookie quarterback that you got. Sorry, the cards were laid on the tape. The cards, you made your bed and you laid in it, right? David Tepper made your bed for you, and then you have to lay in it. Sorry. And your stubborn ass, pissed off ass, old ass that should have never came here in the first place with Frank Reich. Should have never came here. Should have never applied for the job. You should have taken some time off from coaching because you're number one, a control freak. I can tell now after these rumors are coming out. Number two, I can tell that You have so much pride and ego for yourself that you think you're so good at head coaching, but yet you got fired from an Indianapolis job like that. I'm sure he's a good guy. I'm sure Frank's a good guy. But cold-heartedly, he's an idiot. But he let his pride get in front of him because he didn't get the quarterback he wanted in the draft. It's basically what it seems to me. Because you got terminated after you lost 17-10 to the Tennessee Titans. You lost to a D2 quarterback, D3 quarterback in Chicago. You lost to a backup Gardner Minshew in Indianapolis, and you couldn't even win those games. And that was not solely just a result, not for just those performances, but all around. It's a rather a culmination of this inability for yourself to align with the front office vision for Young's development. That's the issue. And league sources are now telling that before Frank Reich was fired, he was approached by the front office about incorporating that RPO, run pass option plays, into his game plan to suit Bryce's strengths. And sources have told me that Reich declined it and said it didn't fit his offensive system. Okay. Well, this revelation paints another daunting picture of a head coach unwilling to evolve and adapt his strategies to maximize the potential of the game's rookie quarterback that you have. So basically, you refused to do that, and it was like you're almost out to ruin the kid. And the Panthers struggled to really just get one win out of the 11 games they played this season. They needed later to ready embrace change, mold the game plan to suit the strengths of a young signal caller. While Young, Young is still trying to find his footing, okay? He's a project player. He was never the first over. He was, in my eyes, and I didn't want, and let me make this clear. I did not want Bryce Young to come to Carolina. I wanted CJ Stroud or AR-15. And actually, AR-15 was number one on my book. I had AR-15 1, I had Stroud 2, and I had Bryce 3. Okay? But Young's a project player, whether you like it or not, okay? But Reich's refusal to explore alternative strategies in the face of adversity raises questions about his commitment to the team's success. Not about, it's not even has to do with about the team's success, though, to him. It was about him letting his ego and pride that he left in Indianapolis to come over here to prove that they should have never fired him, but yet you chose to not evolve anything or make any changes, and it made you even look worse now, Frank. Your pride and your ego got ahead of you. If you look at Young's performance through this whole thing, because it's been a learning curve, now it sparks concerns with the Panthers organization. This team's patience maybe in mourning. I mean, it's like, because here's the thing. You look at Bryce's stats. He's got over 1,800 yards, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And he's got 61. He's throwing a 61.7 complete percentage. Okay. We understand the urgency of change here. The Panthers front office proposed adjustments to accommodate Young's strengths, right? Reich's unwillingness to align that with his proposal ultimately proves fatal to his coaching time here. So the firing of Frank Reich serves, I think, a reminder to all of us that in this cutthroat world of the NFL, you must be able to adapt, and willingness to evolve are non-negotiable. So now the Panthers are now left grappling with consequences of a head coach who prioritized his system over this team's desperate need for a winning formula. So now we're trying to figure out where this quest of success leads us and continues. What's the first step? Removing that obstacle that hindered that progress in the first place. And it was firing Frank Reich. It was the right move. And I knew it was the right move. When we started 0-3, I said this was Frank, wasn't it? We saw it we saw it in the preseason because of the playbook. Because of the plays they were calling. We could see how bland it was, how non-creative, how lifeless, how inefficient, how effective it was. And we saw it. We saw it in preseason. Much less 0-3 and 0-6, and then till now. He should have been gone a long time ago. He should have been gone after 0-6. He should have been gone after the bye week, or before the bye week, in my opinion. He should have never been here, though. Steve Wilks should have been here. Go look at Steve Wilks' last 11 games. So Frank Reich's 11 games, Steve Wilks' 11 games. Steve Wilks went 6-5 as an interim head coach here. Frank Reich, 1-11. Take your pick. And I rest my case. But yet our owner, again, did not come out and say that it was his fault. And that leads me to my next point. You mean Scott Fitter versus David Tepper? Who's Scott Fowler? I don't even know who Scott Fowler is. Is that a reporter or something? Almost everyone in the Colts fan base knew this was going to happen. Game Dreamer 58, are you a Colts fan? Just curious. Frank was just watching shit unfold on the sideline. Basically, I don't think he ever cared about this job, to be honest. He looked like at the end of this job, he smoked about 6 Marlboro, like packs of Marlboro Reds and 16, and then like drank a 12-pack of Budweiser. I wanted Bryce or CJ. Yeah, I was AR-15 fan at number 1, and I wanted CJ Stroud at 2. And then if it came down to it, I guess Bryce. But, here we are. Panthers reporter that David Tepper decided to tell to, I did not know. Scott Fowler, is that the guy for ESPN, or is that the guy that works for the Panthers? Or does like the Panthers beat writing? One of the Panthers beat writers. I'm not sure who he is. Guys, my goal is to get 50 likes. So make sure you pound that like button as you're coming in or leaving. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm sick of Scott Fowler. That's one of the Panthers reporters, I think. Oh, okay. Okay. Shows you how much I keep up with beat writers. I do my own shit, you know what I'm saying? A scoop. All right, next. Scott Fitt. Oh, wait. Did I miss one? I think I put this in the wrong order. Yeah, I did. All right, we're doing Tepper charades first, and then we'll go back to Scott. Fuck it. We'll go to Scott. We'll go to Scott first. All right. Let's talk about Scott. This is Scott Fitter, guys. If you don't know, I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it now. Scott Fitter must go. And we're going to explain why. I'm going to explain why, but you can look at this yourself. I put this together for you guys. We'll talk about the first 3 things, and then we'll go over the rest of this, okay? So you can see it for yourself, okay? Because this is why this man needs to go. This resume right here I put together for this man. It's the reason why he has to go. He has to. I am not calling, listen, I am not a big fan in this whole NFL world about taking someone's job away from them. I'm not about that. But I have to say that when someone's not doing their job correctly from a content creator standpoint, that if, I want them gone. I wouldn't want Scott Fitter calling my boss up and saying, "Hey, get rid of Clay. He's on YouTube during his work hours," which I am, but it is what it is. I take an hour out of my day to do this for you guys. Okay, so neither here nor there. Let me get to this comment real quick. I'm still standing on my choice of Bryce. It hasn't even been a season. This season showed up and put the organization rather than being a bust. No, I get it. I feel you on that, Jadarius. I feel you on that. Guys, my goal is to get to 50 likes. There's 18 people watching and only 16 likes, so make sure you pound that like button. Pound it. Pound it. Pound that like button. All right. He made a comment about his ownership, and then David Tepper went all in and tuned him out on the press conference the other day. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, we'll probably talk about that. I'm pretty sure I have it's about him just not talk like what you said in that comment, basically. Just, ignoring reporters, basically. All right. So anyway, Scott Fitter. This team is no stranger to change. We aren't no stranger to change, right? As a team, as an organization, right? Obviously, it continues to happen every year, and this guy deserves this. Okay, that guy deserves it. Okay, and again, we need to. I know, but if they're terrible, they got to go. You're right. Okay. But the winds of uncertainty are blowing in Carolina, yo. Okay. This is another storm that may not have passed. And this is a looming question around this man's job security. Okay. Again, I am not an advocate for going after someone's head and all that stuff. Okay. But again, Scott Fitter has to go. I don't expect a mid-season shakeup because it's hard to fathom Fitter retaining his job beyond this year, in my opinion. The fingerprints of this questionable decisions are all over the Panthers' struggles and the fallout from his choices as well, because we need to take a look at this. I mean, and I think it's getting overlooked a little bit because the mortgage, the future of for mediocrity. That's the first thing. What does that mean, Clay? Well, it means that Fitter's role in the hiring of Frank Reich is just the tip of the iceberg. His gamble on Bryce, mortgaging the team's future, honestly, has backfired. Let's call it what it is, guys. Let's call it what it is. It has backfired. We're with a 1-10 start. We're set to literally gift the Chicago Bears that number 1 overall pick. Unless somehow we win 6 straight. Basically, we would have to win 6 straight. That way we don't give them that number 1 overall pick. And we don't give them that. And basically the Bears are laughing at us and laughing in our face. But the whole NFL is too. We're the laughing stock of the NFL. This is a fucking circus. Okay? We got the clowns in the front office, and we got the ringleader up as in David Tepper. Okay? That's what it is. Okay? Frank Reich was your lion tamer, but he just couldn't tame any of the lions. Right? Again, the Donald trade debacle. Here's another thing. That trade heralded as a potential game changer and turned out to be nothing short of a dud. And then the return for Christian McCaffrey, a cornerstone player, was definitely another underwhelming choice. As if a first and second round pick in 2023 weren't sufficient, Fitterer threw in this year's first round pick and DJ Moore to sweeten the deal for the Bears. The question is here, a masterclass in desperation, or is that a mismanagement? That's the question. A masterclass in desperation or mismanagement? That's my question. Right? And then the draft blunders pile up. And look at these, okay? So in 2021, you passed on standouts like Michael Parsons, like Patrick Surtain, and you go with J.C. Horn. As much as I love J.C. Horn being a Gamecock fan, but that's neither here nor there. He's injury prone. Then you hit or miss selections in wide receivers and tight ends like Terrace Marshall Jr. I'm not too sure if I would say Brady Christensen's a hit or miss. I put him in there. Y'all can decide that for yourselves. Do you think Brady Christensen was a hit or do you think he was a miss? I'm kind of I'm like 50-50 on it, but that's why I threw him on there. Tommy Trimble's another one. Okay? YGM is another one. Panther Raider X, you're saying Christensen's a miss? Okay. Y'all can let me know in the chat. All right? Everyone on our O-line is a miss. I feel that, dude. I feel that. 2022. You get Ike Ekwonu. First year wasn't bad, but the style, the scheme fit this offensive line, fit Ike Ekwonu better. But Ike Ekwonu is not a left tackle. Let's be honest, guys. He's a left guard. He does not move agile enough as a left tackle. He moves forward and backwards, and that's it because he's a left guard. You watch his game film, he's a left guard. His footwork is terrible. He's not explosive off the line. He's slow. But the overall draft needs a transformative impact there in 2022. And then you risky choices that you took in that draft. You got Matt Corral, right? We traded it to get him. Linebacker Brandon Smith raised his eyebrows. Then in 2023, the Bryce Young gamble really defines the draft. Here's the thing about the Bryce Young trade, guys, that we have to talk about, and I have to say this, whether you like this or not, and even though I don't like saying this. The Bryce Young trade could go down as one of the worst in NFL history if C.J. Stroud continues to progress and Bryce Young does not pan out. Right? Again, listen to what I just said, guys. The Bryce Young trade could go down as one of the worst in NFL history if Bryce Young does not pan out and CJ Stroud continues to progress and continues to get better and still continues to perform like he is. Matt Chatter, give you the number for what? I don't understand. Matt Chatter, have you been drinking this morning already? Again, another one. Jonathan Mingo, do we know if he's a bust yet? I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see. He's starting to get more targets. He gets open. Actually, I feel like he's actually progressed as time's gone on. Slightly. So I'm not going to say he's a bust yet. I don't think Bryce is a bust yet either. I'm not going to say he's a bust. I'm 50-50 on it. I'm not going to say he's a bust. I see both sides. I see both sides of Mad Chatter saying he's a bust. I've seen both sides with people, and I've defended Bryce too, right? But I see both sides of it. DJ Johnson. We traded up for him. What for? You don't use him. And then you failed to address the critical positions like the offensive line, corner, safety, linebacker, and free agency. You did nothing to help the talent and depth. And well, you did, but you signed the wrong guys, is what your issue is. Matt Chatter, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Because I've said the same thing, right? He might not be a bust. He does have some issues. He has some things that he needs to work on, right? But our offensive lines, I don't know how we're ranked 24th in the NFL. I don't understand how we're not ranked like 32, 31, right? I just don't know. How are we not dead last in the NFL from an offensive line standpoint? Okay. So again, Scott Fitter now's fate comes down to how this on-field production ultimately pans out. Because if the Panthers don't show any signs of improvement over the next 6 weeks, again, really, I don't think it's going to matter. I think even if this team won out, let's say they went 6-0 straight out, right? Finish the season 7-10. There's no way this man still keeps his job. His Fitter's time has to be coming to an end here soon. It's just in an hourglass, and then that sand is still pouring until after the end of the season. And once that sand gets to the bare minimum and it's out, he should be done too. All right. There's been too many blunders. There's been too many misguided trades. There's been too many questionable draft picks. There's been too many misses in the free agency. And it's time. It's time for him to go. Okay. In the high stakes world of NFL management, mediocrity is not an option. And Fitter's reign has to be short-lived unless something miraculously turns around and saves him from the chopping block. Because we deserve better, and Fitter's questionable decisions have painted a target on his back. And the countdown, again, like I said, is in a hourglass, and that sand's pouring down to his potential exit has begun. Guys, I hope you like what you're watching. I hope you enjoy what you're hearing. Make sure you pound that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. All right. What has me so mad is in the scouts and Scott. What did they see in a 5'9" average arm, not fast runner that was so good we traded all the way to avoid the tall quarterback with a great arm? Matt Chatter, again, I didn't want him. I wanted AR-15 or CJ Stroud. I saw more potential in those guys. I think Bryce has the potential. I think it just depends. You're going to have to build around him. And that's the only way you're going to be able to develop him. You can't develop him with a trash O-line and not with a non-true number one wide receiver. I mean, it's because like all the pressure is basically on him. And that's no pun intended. He's got pressure coming from the front office, the coaches, the offensive line not protecting him, the running backs not going through the run lanes correctly, missing blocks, wide receivers not getting open. It's been atrocious. National TV clown us, second worst record for the last 3 years. It's awful, man. AJ Marshall, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining the live stream. I really do. I don't trust Scott's decision making his free agencies and draftees hasn't panned out. No. AJ, you can look. This is his resume, basically, in a nutshell, at least from a draft standpoint. Now, we could go through the free agents. We could go through the free agent signings, but we'd be here all day. What I would love to do is guys, think about it this way. Go through all the draft picks. I would love to break that down. Maybe I'll break that down sometime this week. Maybe I'll break down how many draft picks are still here and how many free agents signings that we've done over the years since Scott Fitter's taken over as GM. How many of them are still here? I guarantee you there will be double or triple more players that are gone than there are still here. Guarantee you. I'd bet my next paycheck on that. The Burns debacle. Yeah, and I mean, that is another one I didn't mention, Matt Chatter. Thank you. You didn't sign, right? Not signing Reddick. You didn't sign Burns this offseason. You passed up on 2 first-round picks. and a second-round pick last November from the Los Angeles Rams for Brian Burns. Then what do you got to do now this offseason? You got to re-sign Frankie Louvu. You got to re-sign, I think Derek Brown's up for contract, right? You have to re-sign both of those players. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Derek Brown is up for a re-signing. Maybe it's just Louvu. I think I might be off on that. I think Derek Brown already signed his contract. Derek Brown's next year? Okay, thank you. So again, but then you're gonna have to extend Frankie Louvu. Look what that guy's done this season. You've got to re-sign him. Again, there's 4 guys that need to be off this team by the end of the season, and I think that's part of where Scott will save his ass. Hayden Hurst has to go. Ian Thomas has to go. Dante Jackson has to go. And there's one more player. I can't remember who it was. It opens up the cap space, I can tell you that. And honestly, I would say Jeremy Chin might need to go because you're not using him correctly in this defense, so you might as well move on from him, even though I think he's a once-in-a-lifetime performer. I think, or player. I think he's that good. Guys, thank you for joining the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button. We're going to continue on to the next subject, and I promise I'll get to everybody's comments. So make sure you pound that like button. We're trying to get to 50 likes. That's today's goal, to 50 likes. So I would greatly appreciate reaching that goal today. Yeah, Shaq restructure. Yep. So let's talk about this idiot, because I think he's basically another Dan Snyder over here. I really do. I really do. Because the charades have begun. The charades are, it's right in front of our faces, guys. He's a masterclass in ego tripping and invading accountability. All right. So for you guys, this spectacle of this press conference has really fucking pissed me off. Okay. That's as simple as the easiest way as I can say it. Because with more questions than answers, with the firing of Frank Reich, that whole 13 minutes that I got was only arrogance. That's all I got. It was 13 minutes of Tepper managed to flaunt his arrogance, deliver a self-serving monologue. We were hungry for answers and accountability, and we were met with cliches, deflections, blind ignorance from a man that's steering this Panthers ship into a fucking sinkhole. And the ego boost, okay? The ego boost instead of transparency as the owner deflected significant football-related inquiries. He chose to bask in self-adulation. The brief media availability became a platform for Tepper to basically just pat himself on the back. This whole thing, like I said, the brief media availability became a platform for Tepper to pat himself on the back because he brought Beyonce to Charlotte. He brought this event to Charlotte. He brought this soccer team to Charlotte, allocating time to what he perceives as his success rather than addressing the glaring failures that's haunted this team. And then he dents in Tepper's grand plans, right? Frank Reich removal after 11 games. Just serves as another dent in Tepper's grand plans for Panthers dominance. Makes these claims of the NFC South title being within reach. Fueled by coaching changes and the acquisition of a quarterback, Bryce Young, crumbled right in our face of harsh realities on the field. Zero football success, zero accountability. Since Tepper has taken over the Panthers, there has been zero football success. You're 30-63 or whatever now as an owner. You're a bum and a joke. You have no winning season to account for. A home field advantage with notified visiting fans more than we have it with our home fans. You got a stark of absence of a coherent plan for substantial success. Tepper's presser offered no reassurance or insight into addressing these concerns. And his ego over answers, what did Tepper offer during the fleet media appearance? What did Tepper offer during this fleeting media appearance? Accountability, but only superficially. This billionaire owner indulged in cliches and deflections, safeguarding his ego while leaving the long-suffering fan base craving even a fraction of insight into this team's direction. He used ego boost tactics with a basically just disregarded for fans' frustrations, okay? Tepper's calculated move to feature a reporter discussing the economic impact was a thinly veiled attempt at an ego boost. So it showcased a man more interested in stroking his pride than confronting the failures and arising from his meddling in the football affairs. Because he's a pussy. Let's call it what it is. David Tepper is a fucking pussy. He ignored the real issues and he embraced irrelevance. His diversion into this whole contributions to Charlotte's cultural scene and his staff's recognition of his patience outside of Panthers matters only reinforce the ignorance of the real football issues. And us fans care about a winning team, not about Tepper's taste in music or staff opinions. Nobody gives a fuck. False credit claims and this whole invasion thing. Tepper had the audacity to reach new heights as he claimed credit for Lionel Messi's arrival at Charlotte FC. Does he play for Charlotte FC, Tepper? No. So that has nothing to do with you. A move entirely irrelevant to what this press conference is about. You refusing questions from respected beat writers, a hasty exit when confronted about the future of GM Scott Fitter, further expose your aversion to accountability. You're basic, Tepper, you're a Dolan in the making. You're drawing a stark comparison to James Dolan over there in the New York Knicks. Tepper's evolution into an ego-soothing, the unaccountable figurehead is evident. His presser resembled a dictatorship more than an NFL franchise, with an embarrassing lack of transparency and accountability. And the frustration reality is that us Panther fans dreams of a proud winning team slipping further away. And with this ego-driven maniac and the decisions of his evasive tactics, Tepper stands as primary culprit number one. And that house that Tepper built is rapidly resembling a crumbling facade. But again, now there's rumors out there, okay? So here's the crazy part. Here's the biggest crazy part with the whole meddling on football affairs. It's now taken a whole new twist because there's been a revealing level of interference that extends to the micromanagement of play calling and potential wreaking havoc on this team dynamic. Now, according to some insights that I have been given, Tepper's intrusive approach hit a new low when he handed the offensive coordinator a piece of paper midweek and demanding that the execution of a play he had seen another team use. Listen to this. Listen to what I'm telling you. This is some insight. Tepper's intrusive approach, again, hit the most low I've ever heard in my life. He literally handed our offensive coordinator a piece of paper midweek and demanding the execution of this certain play just because he saw another team use it, labeling it as a random play. Tepper is a notoriously interfering owner down to play calling. Again, he handed a piece of paper midweek that he saw Cleveland run that play the same week that he wanted in the run on Sunday and called it a random play. I mean, you don't like you don't make this shit up, okay? And it's uncommon for owners to express their opinions or suggestions like Tepper's doing, especially sending a play suggestion that they saw from watching a game. I mean, what are we doing? This kind of hands-on approach is this might even be worse than what Jerry Jones did. He's delivering plays that he watched on TV and said, yeah, let's run this play. The typical communication channels can disrupt that established workflow. Okay? So you create confusion among coaches, players, right? And then potentially you undermine the team's performance. Tepper's desire for on-field success is evident, but given the Panthers' disappointment in 2023 regular season, with just one win in 11 games, however, this unconventional method of inserting himself into the play calling process could be counterproductive, especially considering the delicate balance required for a successful coaching in the NFL. I mean, this, you don't make this shit up, guys. And then one more thing that I have to say about David Tepper, and I'll move on. But guys, as you're coming in, make sure you pound that like button as you're coming in. So this is the comedic thing about this whole thing. And a move that has really left all of us in the NFL baffled, amused. David Tepper, our owner, said this about a 40-year plan. This is where it gets funny, because you make this coaching change. Now he's setting on sights for another coach that he's hoping that's going to stick around for 40 years. This man obviously does not know how long coaches stay in the NFL, which means he has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Again, the firing of Frank Reich after 11 games. I don't know what the vision is now to the forefront. But it's entertaining now at this point, because all I could do is laugh. I'm pissed. Yeah, I got pissed off, but I'm just laughing now at this point, because what are Tepper's qualifications for his next head coach? Does he know? Does he have any idea what qualifications should be required to be our next head coach? A willingness to give the eulogy at his funeral in 30 to 40 years? I mean, this announcement, watching that blew my mind. This is why I have to say it, because it's all over social media, that this whole prompt thing about a 4-year plan. has ignited a wave of laughter through social media and the media itself. So here is his absurdity grand plan. Okay. First off, let me give you reasons why David Tepper's outlook is nothing short of hilarious. Okay. First things first. Let's talk about Tepper's 3 children. Okay. Tepper, he has 3 children. Okay. It raises some eyebrows with his declaration because whether his children are on rocky terms with him, lack public speaking skills, or expected to meet untimely demise before him remains clear. But the Tepper family dynamics add an amusing layer to this seemingly straightforward request. Number 2, the frequent coaching turnover. Tepper's firing spree includes 3 head coaches within 5 years of ownership. That irony lies in that despite this revolving door, he envisions a coach who will break records by sticking around for a staggering 4 decades, 40 years. So considering the recent history of swift coaching exits, it's a sudden shift in expectations. Number 3, the historical longevity challenge that he was speaking upon. Tepper's lofty goal draws comparisons to George Halas, the only coach in NFL history to spend 40 years with one team. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. But I know ball, and I know who he is. The slight hiccup is that, and I don't even know, I know who he is. I might even pronounce his last name wrong. But Halas also owned the Chicago Bears franchise. Tepper, however, appears undeterred by such historical nuances and setting the bar remarkably high for his yet-to-be-hired coaching candidate. Tepper's age-defying vision, though. At 66 years old, okay? Tepper envisions a future where he lives to be 106, relying on the next Panthers head coach to deliver a heartfelt eulogy. We're not making this shit up. He said it in his press conference, guys. I'm not making this shit up. This ambitious lifespan projection implies that Tepper might be wise to consider a youthful coaching prospect. Maybe he can scout out Sean McVay's yet-born son. I don't know. But again, Tepper's comedic approach to selecting a coach has injected an unexpected dose of humor in the NFL landscape, and it continues to be the laughingstock. Like I said, it's a fucking circus here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have the ringleader, David Tepper, throwing his whip and mic around to the clowns in the front office, and then whoever becomes our lion tamer, our next lion tamer. Or, well, I should say panther tamer, not lion tamer. Whether this 40-year plan materializes or remains a punchline in the league's history, I know one thing is for certain. The Panthers coaching search has taken an entertaining turn. I will say that. Guys, I hope you like my little spiel there on David Tepper. I tell you what, it's comedic now at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally a comedy show. So, all right, let's move on. I got some sleeper picks. Some sleeper head coaching picks. All right, I want to get to some of these comments that I missed. All right. Where is Shy? Like Shy Tuttle? Superman sees 4 Damian Wayne as Robin and said another one. Interesting. He avoided responsibilities if you're smart. He said he would only he was only guilty because he was a super successful owner who's saving Charlotte Beyonce concerts. I mean, it's ridiculous. Nah, more steering the Panthers ship into an iceberg. Basically, it's basically we're the Titanic all over again. Charlotte fans should own the team like Packers fans own the Packers team. Wait, that may be a bad idea. Some of it could be a bad idea from a standpoint of things, for sure. Tepper pisses me off so much. Does Beyonce or winning Panthers bring more money? I guarantee you, I mean, Beyonce probably brings in some money, I'll grant it, but I guarantee you over, how long a season goes, right? The season started in September, October, November, December, January, February. I mean, 5 months. I guarantee you 5 months we would Panthers winning would bring in more money than one Beyonce concert a year. He's a pussy that made us the Pussycats, not the Panthers. Exactly, Jadarius. Clay, I think I just had the worst idea ever. If Messi played for Charlotte FC, Tepper should just sell the Panthers. I feel that. Hashtag sell the team. I want him to sell the team at this point, man. The shit that he's saying right now, it's delusional. Should I buy the Panthers franchise? I can make some great changes, but then again, I might not be the man for the job. Irito, I would take a dog buying this organization right now. All right, over David Tepper still being here. Charlotte's growing like crazy. Tons of people would love to own it. He is worse. You want to help? Don't screw over Rock Hill, right? Exactly. He screwed over Rock Hill because of his own funds. I think Frank should have took over his mutual funds. My first signing as a Panthers new owner, Tim Tebow as a fullback Wildcat quarterback, trade for Taysom Hill for a 5th-round pick as him. Okay, Carita, that sounds ridiculous. Let's not do that. This man has lost his damn mind. Yes, he has, man. Tepper has not even owned us for 10 years and wants a 40-year coach. I know. So I don't know anybody that can last 40 years as a head coach, except the guy that I mentioned from Chicago. Then I get Bryce and Tyler Taylor, and then QB3, and then sign Dante Howard. Interesting. Carita, you're that's a lot going on there. That's a lot going on, my friend. My hope is officially dead in the man building a slightly decent team, let alone a great one. I feel that. Clay, how do you, like I said, Kyrita, that's a lot going on for me to just put into my mind and say, yeah, let's do it. Maybe Tepper wants to be famous. He clown filled all over. I mean, dude, it's insane. All right, so here are my sleeper head coaching picks, okay? Here's the thing. Dan Quinn. He's a sleeper pick for a head coaching job. I know that he will have his challenges becoming a head coach here because of his time with the Falcons. But the defense that he has built there and is doing with the Cowboy, I think makes him a potential candidate. If he can assure David Tepper of molding a winning coaching staff, developing a rookie quarterback, Quinnen's candidacy, I think, should not be dismissed. I think what he's done over there in Dallas with that defense is crazy, even though he's got a lot of playmakers. All right, let's be honest. Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, who was formerly with the Cowboys. Moore's offensive expertise, his ambition with the play calling could align with the Panthers' vision. I know there's a lot of current challenges going on over there with the Chargers, but that's not on Moore. It's more on Staley, the head coach. Moore's track record, I think potentially growth makes him a compelling choice, especially if Tepper is willing to take another bold step. Another one is Brian Johnson, you see up there, offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Johnson's success in nurturing Jalen Hurts can make him a valuable asset for the Panthers, especially guiding a rookie quarterback like Bryce. So maybe implementing that kind of style that they got going on, maybe that which fits, it does fit Jalen Hurts. And, Jalen Hurts played at Bama. Could fit. All right. But again, despite limited NFL coordinating experience, his impact on player development might be the missing link for us here in Carolina. All right. It's the player development for me with him. All right. Greg Olson. I mean, he could be an unexpected guy. He's definitely interested in a head coaching job, from what my understanding is. While his playing legacy is undeniable, all right, transitioning into coaching comes with risk, all right. Yet his strong community presence, his insightful analysis makes him an intriguing, sleeper pick, okay. All right, Bill Belichick, the grandest name on this list, might part ways with the Patriots. Tepper's penchant for making bold moves could align with pursuing one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. Whether you believe that or not, whether you think it was Tom Brady, sure, we can have that conversation. But while met with mixed reaction, Belichick's experience and success, it obviously is he has undeniable credentials. Mike McDonald, defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. All right. In quest for a turnaround, I think Tepper may explore a defensive-minded guy. All right. The defensive coordinator, McDonald, is earning a lot of praise over there for his work. Despite their relative inexperience, his association with Harbaugh, coaching tree, impressive results, make him a dark horse worthy candidate. So, guys, these are just sleeper picks. These are not guys that I'm saying that I want for the job. My number one pick is Ben Johnson. All right. So let me make that clear to you. My number one pick for this next head coaching job needs to be Ben Johnson. All right. All right. He is our Cape Crusader that needs to come here and save us. Okay. I don't really want Dan Quinn. I don't really want him either, but you got to throw his name out there. I'm praying for Ben Johnson or Moore. I'm not a big Kellen Moore fan either. These are just guys that I think that could become head coaches. It could be in the mix, and they're more sleeper picks. I think Ben Johnson or the other list that I had, which I gave y'all. I think I gave y'all that other list yesterday. I think I gave y'all a long list of guys like Jim Harbaugh, Slowick, Johnson. I gave you a whole list of guys that I think that could be actual potential candidates. You get strong personality coach or we're screwed. So Harbaugh. Listen, I would be totally fine with that because Harbaugh would tell David Tepper to go sit his ass down. I take either the Johnsons, to be honest. So either Brandon Johnson or Brian Johnson. I got you. My number one choice is Ben Johnson too. Yeah, I'm all about Ben Johnson, guys. So, but there are some candidates out there though that I don't want, and we're going to dive right into that. I think we'd be dodging the coaching bullet if we get any of these guys. And Evero, I see him up there, and some of y'all are like, well, you praise him. Yes, I praise him from a defensive standpoint, but there's a reason why. Okay. He's got a great track record, okay? But there's a reason why I don't think he's ready, because he's been part of 2 consecutive head coaching fires. Okay, number one. His time in Denver as a defensive coordinator really left a lot behind, I feel like. With constantly underperforming defenses, now granted, injuries, but ranking 30th in points allowed, that's tough. Okay. I think here dealing with the same thing. I think Evero needs more experience for a head coaching role. The Panthers need a leader, not a coordinator. I think it would be a downward spiral. That's the only reason why I'm saying. But I think he has done a good job here. I think he needs to do one more. If he stays here, great. Because if they decide to keep him, great. Give him another chance at the coordinator position. If he balls out, then let him go find a head coaching job. That's the only reason why I'm saying Evero would be a dodge. All right. What'd you say, Carito? You're going to give me a Batman belt? Clay, you're the head coach, and your OC call the playbook the Batman utility belt offense. I don't know how you would react. I think that would be pretty fucking awesome, honestly. If we called it that, that would be a great name. That would be a great name, and I'd be all about it. I even might like if it's working right. Let's say if my offensive style is working, I'd wear a Batman belt out there every single game, right? Glenn's coaching resume. Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator there at Detroit. Resume doesn't scream success. I've heard his name getting thrown around. His defenses with the Lions have constantly ranked near the bottom. Okay. Showcasing a lackluster performance, subpar track record, only 3 years of coordinating experience. There are better candidates than Glenn to uplift the Panthers, like Ben Johnson. Okay, so let's stand clear of Glenn. Okay, Brian Callahan. The potential hiring of Brian Callahan could be a colossal mistake because despite his current role as the Bengals offensive coordinator, his play calling, inexperience, inconsistent offensive performance raises red flags. The Panthers can't afford to gamble on someone whose offense ranked poorly, especially in a league where analytics matter, and Callahan needs more time, I think, before considering a head coaching position. Matt Nagy, we all know what happened with him over there in Chicago. I don't think he'll ever be a head coach again. I think he's going to play it smart and stay as a coordinator. His role over there as the Chiefs offensive coordinator does add a little value because with Andy Reid calling the plays, Nagy contributions are questionable. So his lackluster of offensive records with the Bears, current dip in the Chiefs' performance make him a candidate, I think, to avoid. Okay. And last but not least, Sean McDermott, man. I do not want him here. If he wants to become the defense coordinator again, fine by me. But I don't want him here if he gets fired. He has a decent regular season record, but his postseason performance, recent struggles with the Bills, suggest a coach unable to take a team to the next level. And with questionable decisions, an underperforming team, and you got Josh Allen playing at an all-time high now, ever since I think it was that one game he threw 3 picks, but after that, he's playing a lot better. McDermott's time with the Panthers as a defensive coordinator might translate into a failure as a head coach again, and I don't want that. I think you got to stand clear of these guys, and that's the reason why. So I just want to let that know. I want to make that known of these guys. Matt Nagy was bad as the Bears head coach, but I don't know if it was him or the Bears. It could have been a combination of both. Again, when your team doesn't align up with your coaching staff like it does, like what we're going through, and your GM, when all 3 of those things don't align up together, it turns into a shit show. No, I do not want to Panther Raider X. I do not want to bring any college coaches over this way. Again, I don't want to go through another Matt Rule era. Not saying that Mike Elko is not a good coach. I do not want him here. I just don't trust it. I'd rather have, if I'm going to get any coach that's in college football right now, that is Jim Harbaugh. And that's it. That is it. Because Riverboat Ron, watch, he'll get fired. I guarantee you. Riverboat Ron will go to the college ranks. Watch. Calling it. All right, last topic of today's live stream. The Panthers need to roll the dice here. No, Kyrito, Kevin Sullivan, no. Kevin Sullivan can't even keep a job in the college ranks, much less the pros. All right, Kevin Sullivan, no. Absolutely not. We got to roll the dice on this guy. This guy should be contestant number 1 for the next head coaching job in Carolina. Maybe besides Steve Wilkes. Okay? Because, again, we fired Frank Reich. We got to bring a guy that can revamp this team. He comes from a background of Dan Campbell. Right? And as of right now, from a betting odds, So from a betting odds right now, he's the plus 500 odds of being our next head coach. Okay. We are desperate for a turnaround. And given our offensive struggles that place this team in the league's bottom tier for total yards, passing yards, rushing yards, and points per game. Every statistical category on the offense, we are dead last. You got Bryce Young, who was the number 1 overall pick, which we sacrificed significant assets for. And it's experiencing a rough initiation into the NFL. The urgency to rectify this situation is it has to be done because it's a lackluster. 5.4 yards per play per attempt, right? 5.4 yards per attempt. You got 9 touchdowns, 9 to 8 touchdowns. Okay. The unfortunate title of the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL right now. Okay. I feel that Ben Johnson, under his guidance, and then how this Lions offense is soaring right now to 2nd in total yards, 3rd in passing yards, 6th in rushing yards, and 7th in points per game. His success there places him in the spotlight as the prime candidate number 1 to rejuvenate what we are struggling with here on the offensive side of ball things. Okay. All right. And I think he could help Bryce develop him. Now, there are other odds out there that Jim Harbaugh's plus 700. Okay. All right. Brian Johnson, he's plus 900. And Mike McDonald is 1,000. Plus 1,000. So despite all these odds, though, the burning question, though, remains, though, is this, guys, is that will Johnson choose to steer the Panthers ship in hopes of turning their fortunes around? Okay, because the coach is already a hot commodity in the market. And I think one thing that we need to think about is that we better hope the Bills don't fire McDermott, because if they fire McDermott, I could see Ben Johnson hauling his ass right up to Buffalo. Or if Staley gets fired down in the Chargers, I could see him going there instead of us. Seriously, that's another thing we got to think about here, guys, is that these other teams with coaches that are on the hot seat, you also got Washington. All right. These NFL coaches are on the hot seat, right? So NFL coaches that are on the hot seat right now. You got Staley. Frank Reich's already been fired. You got Bill Belichick. Here's the thing that makes the Patriots intriguing. They're going to have a high draft pick, which they're probably going to end up getting Drake May, in my opinion. Who wouldn't want to go work with it? We'll go to the Patriots and get a brand new quarterback, Drake May, to develop. Right? The Bears, with having most likely having the first overall pick because of us. Okay? Then they got the first overall pick, which means I think they're going to end up getting Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they get Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they rock with Justin Fields, because they're going to fire their head coach. That Matt Eberflus has got to be gone after this year. So I guarantee you, whoever they get next, they'll keep Justin Fields. They'll work to develop him. They got Darnell Mooney. They got DJ Moore. They get Marvin Harrison Jr. And they got a stacked wide receiver room. And then they got all the weapons around him. And they develop that offensive line. And they freaking rock with him and build that defense up. It's a better coaching spot than ours. Ron Rivera, Sam Howell, I think, has shown some poise. They've got Terry McLaurin. They got Dotson. They got Samuel. They've got Gibson and Brian Robinson from an offensive standpoint. Their defense lacks now because of the trades they're made. But they build that defense up. You bring in, but then they got Eric Bieniemy. So again, Eric Bieniemy could just move up there in Washington. They could just move Bieniemy up and get Ron Rivera out, right? Then if you look at, and then of course the Los Angeles job. You got Justin Herbert, a franchise guy. I mean, I think that that's another thing. So like between those teams, I mean, is Ben Johnson gonna? It's been obviously Ben Johnson's gonna look at each and every one of them. So that's something we got to think about though too. Maybe Rob Ryan. I listen. I think that we can get a guy like Ben Johnson. I think it's just going to be like, hey, if I take this interview, okay, great. But that guy, whoever the coaches that interview with Tepper and all that needs to say this. Hey, I'll come here, but you're not going to tell me what quarterback to draft. So you're not going to tell me what free agents we're getting. We're not doing any of that. Steve Smith as wide receiver coach? No. I don't want Steve Smith anywhere close to this team. He's already made too many suggestions and they haven't panned out. It's Panther Raider X. Could he be a good wide receiver coach? Maybe. But he's made too many suggestions to this team and they haven't panned out. Oh, Toxic Black, what's up, man? The leaders of the division, shockingly enough, with Desmond Ridder at the helm. Arthur Smith is fighting for his job over there. Black. Finally using Bijan Robinson correctly. At least it looked like. Jared Jeudy as a Panther. I don't know about that. I don't know if Jared Jeudy will become a Panther. Oh, man. Well, guys, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button. If you're rewatching this, if you rewatch the replay, make sure you pound that like button. We're trying to get to 50 likes with this live stream. Every live stream, we're trying to reach 50. I think we're at 21 right now. You can replay this and rewatch it if you want. It is going to be replayable. So we talked about a lot of things, man. We talked about a lot of things. Just the latest chaos and news updates from this. Basically, we just talked about, Tepper's mismanagement and his, basically his arrogance. We talked about Reich's stubbornness and Chris Tabor, a forgotten figure here. Tom Brady talked about his wisdom falls on deaf ears, just talking about the chaos. He actually talked about on some podcast, or maybe it's his podcast, about the chaos that's going on here, and he had his opinions about it. Then we talked about, just reiterating this, we talked about Frank Reich's stubbornness that sealed his fate. He basically refused to embrace change to his strategic scheme, to this wonderful playbook that apparently he put together to help develop young. Is basically what's come out. Then we talked about Scott Fitter, why he needs to go. Basically talked about that. The resume, looking at this, the resume speaks for itself, right? I'm not going to go back over it, but you can see it here. And then we talked about David Tepper's charades. Talked about basically we talked about his 13 minutes of arrogance on that press conference. We talked about the ego boost instead of his transparency. We talked about his grand plans of things. We talked about how zero football success and zero accountability, his ego over his answers. You calculate his ego boost tactics. He ignored the real issues. He embraced irrelevancy, the false credit claims. He's just another Dolan in the making, guys. He's just another James Dolan, like over there at the New York Knicks, in the making. And it's just a frustration reality for us fans. And then we talked about the him meddling ways. Talked about how he literally David Tepper again. So just so y'all know about his meddling ways, this is how funny it gets. Okay, this is just something we went over, and you can go back to see the longer version. I'm just going to explain this to you again. David Tepper really hit a new low with this rumor here that I found out. He handed the offensive coordinator a piece of paper midweek and demanded the execution of this play he saw on TV, and it was from the Cleveland Browns, and labeled it a random play and told them to execute this play. Add it to the playbook. That's all I'm going to say. You take it as you will. And then again, Tepper's comedic vision for the Panthers' next head coach, this 40-year plan that he's got, basically thinks that he's going to get a coach to for the next 40 years, and then he's going to have him, which means David Tepper thinks he's going to live till 106. Again, I guess like I said, if that's the case with his whole lifespan projection that he's going to live to 106 because the next 40 years, because he's 66 years old now, he's talking about considering a youthful head coach. Maybe perhaps, like I said, he could scout out Sean McVay's yet-to-be-born son. That makes sense. And then, again, we went over some sleeper head coaching picks. These are the guys, as you can see: Dan Quinn, Greg Olson, Brian Robinson, McDonald, Belichick, and more. And then we talked about 5 candidates that I didn't want, that I think we'd be dodging a coaching bullet if we try to hire these guys as next head coaches. And then, of course, again, talking about Mr. Ben Johnson, why I think we need to roll the dice with this guy. So if you're just tuning in, you can definitely rewatch this and go over through the, a more deeper dive that I gave through this, because we are wrapping things up as of right now. I'm going to get through these last second comments, and then I'm going to wrap things up. Yeah, David Tepper probably won't allow Jared Judy to come here. Smith needs to be fired regardless. Oh, yeah. Arthur Smith needs to go. That guy has the most punchable face I've ever seen. Toxic. I heard Greg Olson wants to be a coach for y'all. He does. He's very, very interested. Surprisingly enough, I don't know why. We need a lot of prayer for this team. We sure do, my friend. We sure do. I like the profile picture, Antonio. That's sick. It's a good pick. That's funny. Mr. Toxic Black, your owner sucks. Oh, dude. Don't even get me started. I think this guy might even be worse than Dolan at this point. I think he might become another Schneider. I think we got to find some dirt on this guy. We need to find some dirt on this guy. That's what we need to do. Or we need to send a hooker into that front office and videotape it. Something crazy. I never watched the New York Knicks, Clay. The only teams I watch is the Hawks, Warriors, Hawks, Knicks, Bucks, Heat. Interesting. Got you. I'm livid. Hello, I'm pissed. No shit, Mad Chatter. It's in your name. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to hop off the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button. Let's reach that goal. We're almost to the halfway point. We're at 23 likes. Let's reach the 50 likes for this live stream. I really greatly appreciate it. I hope y'all enjoyed today's show. As always, make sure you pound the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. Always feel free to leave a comment. Love to hear y'all's thoughts. Also, check the links down below in the description of this live stream. My link tree is down there. It'll take you right to all my links for the Discord, my social media, and betusa.com if that's something you're interested. If you are betting degenerate like myself, use BetUS. Sign up for free today. Get 125% bonus on your first bet. That's it, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed today's show. I'm Audi 5000. I'm going to get some shorts out to you guys today. Peace.